to the Delmarva Almanac. Each week we connect you to the best of Delmarva. Like other almanacs, our aim is to tell you a little bit about our past, our present, and events in the near future. I'm your host, Dana Kester McCabe. Nick Serratore knew that he wanted to be involved in making art by the time he was in high school. He studied at the Hutchins School in Philadelphia, and after graduation created graphics for the famous concert venue there, the Electric Factory. In the mid-1990s, he moved to Lewis to run his own gallery, but being near all that art eventually was not enough.
I was looking at the art that we carried, and I wanted to get back into it, even if it was just on the side, if it was just a hobby. I didn't want to lose what I was taught. I spent too much time learning it just to forget about it. So I started dabbling back into the arts, the fine art. And I had all these mediums left over from art school. And I was, to me, the president of the school one time called me a jack of all trades and a master of none. And I always remember that. So I decided to focus in on each medium. And I started with pastels because my instructor, one of the fine art teachers, was Virgil Sova. And he worked in acrylics and oils and pastels. And what he did with them was extraordinary. I just kind of gravitated towards them. Just naturally, of all the mediums, I just started with that. So with all these mediums that I had, I decided, all right, learn pastel first. When you get tired of that, go to oil. Just keep working with them. But I never went back to anything else. I started with pastel and kept going. And even though I had my daytime job, I was always painting at night, on the weekends. And when I started entering shows, I joined an art league, the Rehoboth Art League. And it kind of just snowballed from there. The paintings started taking on a look of their own. And again, I was afraid to go into becoming a full-time artist. So we had eventually sold the gallery. I went to work for the Rehoboth Art League, a 9 to 5 job, which was a lot of work. And I was a gallery manager, and my responsibilities were dealing with the artists, hanging shows, exhibition display, and I kind of got jealous. I was like, I should be the one delivering my artwork. I should be the one going on shows. I should be the one who's painting full time. So in 2012, I went full time with it.
Nick is a pastel painter. Pastels are raw pigments pressed together into hard sticks with just a little bit of binder. To see Nick working, you might think of this as drawing, but pastel painters build up their colors just the way other painters do, just without liquid to convey the pigments onto the canvas.
The colors are really, really brilliant. It's tactile. You're hands-on. I won't say it's finger painting, but I do use my hands a lot. But when I started working with pastel, I love the way when it made contact with the paper, the subtleties, the gradations, it was just fluid. It was immediate, it was brilliant. I liked the fact that I could smudge. I wasn't away from it using a brush. It was right hands-on.
Nick's subject matter is mostly landscapes and flowers. His work is representational but has become more and more impressionistic over the years.
Almost kind of liberating. I think you grow and you don't realize you're growing. Subconsciously, you're not aware of it. It's just happening. And that to me is, I can't wait to see what I do in the next 2 years, actually.
In 2012, Nick received a grant from the Delaware Division of the Arts for Emerging Delaware Artists. He began to enter and be accepted at a number of prestigious shows. He says that it took time to learn the business of being a fine artist.
You have to keep pushing yourself. No one's going to come to you. You have to go to them. And I think it was a calling. It doesn't happen overnight. You evolve. No one starts out at the top and works their way up from there. You have to start out at the bottom and figure it out on your own. Now my hobby is cooking. Before it was painting. And people were like, wow, you get to paint at an easel all day long and come up with all these pretty paintings. I go, that's not that easy. It's work. You got to constantly be creative. You got to constantly think about the next work of art. It's going to be the same thing over again. And even though there's a joy with loving what you do, it's still work. And it's not always that easy.
For Nick, the work may be a labor, but it seems to be a labor of love.
I like to put emotion into it. I tell my students it's really easy to paint what you see. The challenge is painting what you feel. The pieces that I do, I put a lot into it. It's more than just a skill. It's more than just mastering the medium or learning all the thing about how to use the medium. You have to put something of yourself into it, and that's what catches people's eye. Don't be a slave to your reference. Convey a mood, convey a thought. Make it your own. And Georgia O'Keeffe said it best. She was searching for her own unknown. And that's what, for me, painting is. Searching for my unknown.
You can see Nick's work in Milton, Delaware at the studios on Walnut and the Milton Artists Guild. Get links to them and Nick's website at our website, delmarvaalmanac.com/arts. Well, that's all for this edition of the Delmarva Almanac. We'd like to thank our community partners, the Friends of Delmarva Public Radio, the Community Foundation of the Eastern Shore, and underwriters, eatdrinkbuyart.com, for their help in bringing this program to you, our audience. Our theme music was provided by Brightside Studio. This show has been a Moonshell production. Thanks for listening. Until we meet again, may the rhythms and tides of Delmarva bring you good fortune.